Hey everyone, so in light of all the new subscribers, we've decided to go ahead and make a video of all the ghost hunting tools, well, the basic ghost hunting tools that we use that you should use too if you decide on going ghost hunting. From importancy to durability, we're going to be going through a lot of different basic tools and hopefully help you on your next ghost hunting adventure. The first one I'm showing is the one you see a lot on TV. You see a lot of people use. They're very useful, but they do have their flaws. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the K2 meter. This is the one we use a lot in our videos. I mean, people from Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, and a lot of people all over YouTube use them as well. This one in particular is a K2 EMF. So an EMF is electromagnetic field detector. What it does is that it picks up electromagnetic fields in the area and reads them off. This can easily pick up electronics in your area. But the tool with the key with these is that we want to use them to pick up and communicate with, you know, spirits or ghosts or anything that uses EMF to talk. The way you really use these of all kinds is you first get a baseline, which as you can see this one's blank and green. Green being basic, red or orange being like hot, mattering which one you're using. And what it does is that when something is in the area, it'll go off. Now baseline is when you're in the area and it's just pushing red constantly and you're not doing anything. Well, what happens is that it's picking up electromagnetic fields in the area, maybe a transformer, a phone. Phones really knock these off, but I'll go over that in a minute. And that's called a baseline reading. If you see it like blip once, you know, make sure it's not going in a certain pattern. If it's going in a pattern, it has been said that there are phones. So what I would suggest, if you are using an EMF, what we do is we put our phones in either airplane mode or turn them off completely, because these can mess with your readings. So keep that in mind. On top of that though, these are really fun to use because once you get your baseline, you can tell that it's, you know, green, or you can tell that, you know, it's stable on red or something. You can tell. I would honestly suggest only using these if you can get a baseline of green for majority of the room. But you ask the spirit, you know, hey, if you can come over to this, you know, show me that you can do so. It might do so, and then you can use it to communicate, saying yes or no. So now, why I'm holding this one? This is another version. This is actually a meter rather than a reader. Cool thing about this one is that it beeps when something is near. The problem between the two though is that I've seen a lot of people use these and they do go off. However, I haven't got as many readings with this as I had with these. Now it could be my ghost meter, but I've used multiple and I get stronger readings with this. I think this is more sensitive, but with this one it definitely gets an array. This one is very like point direction, at least the ones that we use. These are the K2 meters from Ghost Augustine, I believe. All of my affiliate links will be down in the description if you want to check them out. But this will check out the pointed area. On top of that, this one can get annoying. You can turn down the volume on them. However, again, I haven't really got a lot of readings with this. One good thing about this though is that when you shake it, doesn't really have much of an issue other than the needle going around, but it won't make it go red and won't go beeping and stuff. So if you are moving frequently and freaking out, it will not go off. However, with these, you shake them or you jar them too fast and they will go off. That's why when you see a lot of like professional ghost hunters use them, they hold them still. If you see someone going like this or like moving up and down, getting an answer, then that might be why. So keep that in mind. Again, this is the K2 meter, this is the ghost meter, and you'll see a lot of these types around. There are different EMFs. I would suggest, however, sticking with the K2 meter when it comes to EMFs, mainly because they're very durable, they're very reliable, and they only take a couple batteries and you're good to go. I have gotten more answers with this than any of the EMF detectors we have, and they're cool. So keep that in mind when you're going out shopping for an EMF detector. The next one is EVPs. Now, with EVPs, it's they're basically, EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. What we're doing is an EVP recorder. That's what these things are. They're EVP recorders, but we call them EVP for short. They pick up basically phenomenon that we cannot hear with our ears using a like frequency that we're just not used to, or maybe we've become deaf to, or maybe it's too quiet. Sometimes even too loud, which is strange. You'll hear screams really loud and no one heard them in person, but you'll pick them up on these. Again, it deals with frequencies. I won't go into too much jargon for you. So anyways, the two I have with me are an Olympus, and I always forget this one. This is an H1N Zoom. I always forget Zoom for some reason. So these are the ones we used to use all the time. So if you watch any of our videos and heard like the scratchiness and the craziness of our EMFs or EVPs, that's because it was on this. This is with our newer one when we do use them. Our camera mic is just as good anymore. Now, standing on that though, the reason I bring these two out more than any other ones we have is because this is like a basic recorder. This is like one you pick up when you're talking maybe in a office or getting like an interview. These are ones that you're like using lapels for. These are ones you're picking up better frequency. Now, this is more of like a studio. This is more of just your basic runaround. I'll get into that in a minute. So this is the Olympus, is got a mic on the front, on the top. There is external ports for it. This one, however, has no USB connection to your computer. So when you are using this, you have to realistically just put an aux in and re-record what you've recorded. It's a mess, but they do come in USB styles where you just plug it right in and you go. The reason why these are decently good is because these pick up a higher frequency. They're not such a focused frequency, so they can pick up an entire room. However, the audio is going to be really loud and scratchy. You'll get more data with this, but it's going to be ear bleeding just to keep listening to it. It is worth using if you want a cheap one. These ones are only like 60 bucks. This one is like 120, and this is a cheaper one. So I would keep that in mind. Again, these links are in the bottom below. Now, with this one's really nice because it picks up crisper audio. It has focal points on the top, which you can dictate how much they pull in and stuff from the top dial, which you can't really see right here. What it is that these will pick up audio better close up than they do far away. They are really nice if you're trying to get a focal point with the Spirit, but more or less this is good just to get separate audio if you're going away from camera, but they do work as EVPs. What I would suggest is if you do use these, make sure you're talking with this, like pointed out to the Spirit. This one can be the entire room. Again, this is going to be a lot scratchier though. So keep this one in hand. What's nice about this is it also has mini SD cards, so you can just pop them out and put them right in your computer. The batteries are the same, they're AAA, and you just pop them in and out. This one's best for like maybe overall mics or overall audio, so you can put this in and share it, or put it in to listen. Oh, live audio. That's what I was gonna say. This has live audio, this one doesn't. So if you wanna record something and listen to it, you have to pre-record with this one. This one you can record and listen to at the same time. So that is worth the price. Basically, you're gonna get one of these for the price of two of these. But that is just some simple stuff. I'm gonna probably do another video in the future going in more detail about all these, but this is just for basics. If you're wanting something cheap and quick, get this one. If you want something longer lasting, want something that you want to keep using over and over again, stick with the Zoom. But again, focal point overall. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the Ghost Box, or the Spirit Box, Spirit Talker. So what these things do is, this is basically a mini radio. Now I only have one with me, but the reason being is that there are a lot like it. This is the base model PSB7 Spirit Box. And a lot of people use these. Some people have modded editions, some ones have new. I am actually looking for a newer one of these, and a better one, but this one has lasted me for its purpose exactly. So what we got going on is this box right here is the basically a radio frequency generator. So what it does is it just generates frequencies and runs through them. You can listen to normal radio with these and constantly just generate over and over and over again. Obviously, if you put the antenna up, it's going to pick up more radio waves. And the theory is that spirits talk through white noise. So when you're generating this, you're generating white noise, and they can speak through it. You can use AM and FM. You can use different frequencies. You can have different bit rates. It's really nice. And this, if you get the one that's down in the description, if they're still available, you can get this with it. This is a loud mic inducer. Loud mic inducer. Ugh. Sound inducer. So basically, just to show you, I don't know if you can hear this, but it's very quiet. You plug it in, and you turn it on. See, that should have warned you for that. So anyways, what this does is that it reads through constantly, and it is quiet. Mine is quiet. I don't know if they're all quiet, but it is quiet, so this thing is very useful. You can live listen with headphones. I wouldn't suggest it. It is ear bleeding. However, the negative side of these things is that it does pick up radio waves, as I've mentioned. But what happens is people listen to radio waves and think people are talking. You definitely have to check out the difference. The more you use it, the more you start realizing that, hey, that sounded like a spirit. Hey, that sounds like a radio. Keep it at a faster bit rate, and you'll have less of a chance of that happening, because all they need is the white noise to generate. The best way to tell if you're talking to a spirit or radio is that the way I have it, it generates constantly through radio waves. So if you're picking up a sentence, the likely chance of you picking up a full sentence from just a radio channel is a lot less when you're going faster, and you will pick up a full sentence. You know that maybe it's something else talking to you through white noise. I do suggest these. This is probably lower on the bracket of things to get, but if you are interested in trying some new things out, this is a fun one to use. Keep in mind, if you're wanting to record video for it, this one, however, is not something you want to use all the time. This is more for probably fun's sake. They are durable though, I will say that. Some of the last hand tools that I have in my possession for basic tools. We have a lot of other tools, but these are just basic trees that you see a lot. The last ones I'm going to go over, there are many different styles of these. However, I would suggest, maybe putting these last on your bucket list. So what this is that this is basically a heat reader. What it does is that it'll pick up the heat of the area. Now the problem with these, if it's close up, I don't know if you can see that, you'll get a decent answer. You'll get, like right now it'll say I'm 85 degrees, and that's just the skin temperature on the outside. They're somewhat accurate. Yeah, see now it says I'm 90. But the problem is that if you're shooting this from far away, like I'm shooting over there, it's going to pick up every heat signature between here and the red dot, and it cones as it goes. So the farther you use this, the worse it is. Except the way we use them is that we point it at something and we keep it there, and it'll read, the signature. And now if something passes through, it's going to change immensely, usually 10 to 15 degrees, or it's going to gain and then drop really fast. We haven't really had these glitch out much, but we have had to use these to interact with the spirits, because they don't really know what it is. So they mess with they start messing with EMFs, or they start speaking and stuff. They're not really sure what it is. So that's cool. But the way I would just use these is, if you plan on using these, keep it in one spot, don't move it around, and if something runs through it, you'll be able to change it. I would suggest, if you're trying to use temperature, get a FLIR. They're really expensive. They do have ones for phones now. I haven't got to test them out. So FLIR, if you're looking for someone to sponsor, hit us up, because I would really like to use a FLIR and test it out, or just to see what the thermal would be, and I think it'd be really cool. So what is nice is that they do light up and stuff. Again, these are in the affiliate link below. The other thing I'm going to use is a compass. One thing I do have to say is that most of these tools were repurposed, such as the EMF. They used to be used to find loose wiring until they realized that they could use them for, talking to spirits and such, or finding EMF. There are radiation detectors people use. They're not very common or considered a basic tool. The heat ray was to find, hot spots and whatnot. But one thing that was used for a long time and been repurposed before they really had all this was a compass. So the compass is a very, if you have nothing else type of tool. They're great to have on you if all of your batteries get drained, your electricity gets shot. I have had that happen before, and it was good to have it on hand. It's hard for them to mess with as much as like electricity, but if you get a strong enough spirit, it will, you know, cause the magnetism to freak out a bit, or maybe they're messing with something in the needle. It's hard to say, but I would suggest keeping one on hand just in case you don't have any other tools. But you can get them anywhere. I mean, any companies can get them at like general stores or whatever, or Walmart. But you know, they're cool. They're really useful to have on hand, and if you go like me and you go ghost hunting in the woods a lot, very useful if you get lost. So one of the last basic tools I'm going to talk to you about is the flashlight. Everyone probably has one in their house. Everyone probably has one or can get one pretty quickly. They do drain batteries pretty fast, especially when you're using them for ghost hunting. They're great because you can use them to look in areas, you know, but the real thing is people use these as communicators with spirits. And I'm going to go over that in a minute. But flashlights are very reliable, you know, good for hitting if you need to hit something. But truth be told, they're just great for light. Everything we do is in pitch black, so they're really useful unless you have like a night vision camera. These are your sole safeties. I will say people do use these a lot. Now, here are the things when using a flashlight. There is controversy when using them that people say that, you know, when you turn it on and you get it to the right area, it could heat up, it could get cold to tighten and loosen. But if that keeps happening, it doesn't seem like it could be controversial. So what I would do is, I will explain how to use it in a minute. One thing I would do is that if you are using these, do it. If it works, ask them to do it again. And if it works, go from there. So the way you do it is a flashlight like this. These are the ones I recommend because you can loosen it and get it to a good spot to where it turns off right about, well, there. And you turn it till it turns back on and you just let it sit. So the thing is that you let that sit for a good 5 minutes before you use it, because that way too, if the controversy does work, you know, it gets cold, it gets hot, you know, it turns on. Maybe you didn't loosen it enough and it just turned on by tightening itself. You know, let it be and then start using it, because I have seen spirits physically turn the backs of these and it turn on. I've seen them turn it back and it turn off. And sometimes I don't put it like a lot, because you got to imagine it's going to take a lot of energy for them to do so, and you want to keep talking with them when it does happen. So try not to burn a lot of their energy off when doing so. They're a lot of fun. The clicker parts are nice. It is a lot of energy to keep turning that on and off, especially 3-click ones like mine. So I would suggest, you know, the screw backs are nice, but if your back doesn't really work like this, so I have like 2 other flashlights that when you unscrew it, it just either turns off or turns on. There is no, and it's really tight to turn on. So I would suggest getting one. This is an Ozark flashlight. I would suggest getting ones that you know have a good back battery turn, or have one that's a good clicker. Make it be on and off. We have been trying to come up with the idea, or use the idea of the ones that just flick on and off, like household lights, but we haven't got to test that out yet. If you have used one, please let me know down in the comments. I would, the way to do this though, is do it to a default off. If it's a click, if it's a screw, let it sit there, ask your question. Tell them that if it's yes, to turn it on. Doing so, you'll see if it's on, ask them to turn it off. If they don't turn it off, don't get discouraged. It is harder to turn something off, especially with the screws, than it is on. So, you know, try it again. And again, make sure, double check that it is them and not the flashlight, or you're gonna get false data. So keep that in mind. One of the most expensive things that you can get for ghost hunting is a night vision camera. So you can use cameras all day. Cameras are really cool to get, except when it's nighttime. When it's nighttime, you're gonna want a night vision camera, and that's where the money hits. Now the thing is, they are very expensive, so if you aren't dedicated into shooting at night and getting data at night, don't do it. I mean that, because it is very expensive. I have bought from $100 to $300 like cameras. Like I bought a $100 camera, a $300 camera, and so on, all the way up. And I bought them off of Amazon, and they are terrible battery. They sound like crap and they look like crap. They're like a grayish night vision. It looks like it barely uses any IR to work, and they just die super quick. And the batteries aren't worth the up cost, and just not worth it. If you're gonna buy a night vision camera, buy a good one and keep it hardy. Do you want those little ones? Go for it. I probably won't put them in the description, but they'll probably be on the links next to this camera if you want to check it out. This one is the Sony AX5 or 5.3. I always get that mixed up. It'll be in the description as well. This camera is amazing. It's the same one that Ghost Adventures used for a long time, if not still using. It's got a mic import, so all you gotta do is just plug in an external mic, which we use a Rode Go mic? I don't know. It's a Rode mic, again, it'll be in the description. And a great sound, great picture, and we use, at the moment, an external IR flashlight. I would suggest getting those for any ghost hunting situation, whether it be like a IR room extender or any kind of IR to help boost, but even by itself, it looks really, really good. So I would check those out. They are expensive though. They have these shoot in 4K and these are close to $1,000. But if you're dedicated, totally worth it. If not, I wouldn't mess with it. I won't say that. If you are just starting out and you want to get something, the $100 cameras or $160 cameras from Amazon aren't bad, but don't give your hopes up. They do get better with price, but until you hit closer to $800, it's not going to be stable. This one can last up to 4 hours and we can just shoot all day. The other ones last 20 minutes, so just keep that in mind. The last tip I have for you though is the most basic, most useful tool, and it's free. It's yourself. Reason I say that is because your inner intuition is the answer for a lot of things, but you want to use tools to figure it out. The reason I say that is like, everyone has used their intuition for one reason or another. One of the main examples I use is that when you go and walk by somebody that you just get this awful feeling from, that you feel like you're unsafe, most of the time your gut's right. So trust your gut. That works with supernatural as well. If you are out in the middle of somewhere, it's okay to be scared, but you know when it's scared and in danger. If you're scared, that's part of the fun for most of you, you know, going in and getting scared. But if you're going out there and you feel in danger, you feel like there is no reason to stay here, you might be in danger. There's no embarrassment when it comes to leaving if it means your safety. So I definitely would keep that in mind. However, a lot of people, there are people that are empaths. There are people that can just naturally feel when a spirit is around. And there's a whole lot of video I'm going to do on that in the future. But for now, I'm just going to say this. If you go into an area, you can start to feel where you know your sadness, but you can almost feel someone else's sadness. That's like you're picking up someone else's emotions, and that it's kind of like how that gut feeling is. You know, you can feel that it's not yours. You can start to use that to your advantage. Like if the spirit is sad, maybe talk to them. You know, ask them about their sadness. That might bring them out and speak more. It's stuff like that that'll help you in the long run when it comes to ghost hunting. So what I'm saying is that your best tool is your inner intuition, is your gut. Follow it, listen to it. It'll lead you to the answers that you're looking for most of the time. I won't say all the time, but the best part is it's free and it's usually reliable. So there's that. But I'm going to go ahead and end it out here. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I wanted to go a little detail on each of these tools. We do have a lot more tools, and I'll probably go over those in the future. We usually do ghost hunts in this time of year, or this time of the week, so we can put up more videos for you. But I thought this was important, especially for a lot of you new subscribers, if you are interested in ghost hunting at all. Make sure that you are safe and that you have fun out there when using these tools, and you'll have a good time. You'll get data. Just don't expect to get data every time. Sometimes it's a hit or a miss. So you know, no matter what happens, just make sure you have fun. That's important. But all these links for all these things are down in the link below, description below. Go ahead and check those out if you want to purchase one. I would suggest, if you are getting into this, at least start with a K2 and a flashlight. And that's where I started, and this is where I am today. So check that out. Guys, so real quick, we are going to start doing blog posts about stuff like this on our website. Yes, you heard me, website. It is coming. It isn't up yet, but it will be zodiacsupernatural.com, and we will start putting posts up about these items, where to get them, you know, maybe different aspects of them, and go in more detail about them as well. So please check that out when it's up. You know, put Zodiac Supernatural in your browser, you know, save it so that way you can check it out in the future. There's a lot coming with that, so please check that out. We do have a Patreon, and we do have Streamlabs for donos, so if you are wanting to help us get more equipment so we can do more videos like this, please check those out. Every Patreon user gets a rank for every patron you do, and we will be starting to focus on those more and more, and hopefully sending out more to you personally. We want to try and give a little bit of us to you for what you've done for us, if that makes sense. Make sure to subscribe so you can become an investigator today. Follow us on all of our videos. We should be having a ghost hunt here soon, or another live stream where we can talk to you directly. I am talking way too long. Alright guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you in the next one. Have fun and be safe out there.